Oh God, this is going to be an upset, it looks like. Dad's not doing so well health-wise between August 23 and August 2024. He is shocked. This is almost like a futuristic thing that's happening. The future of the royal family. Somebody who isn't taking it anymore. Eighth house is revenge. He's getting some kind of revenge. Hello, everyone. I'm Val Evans. Thanks for joining me. It is going to be a bigger show than I thought, so I'm glad you're here and able to join me. Let's just ask a question about the show, how this show is going to turn out for Meghan. Let's hope it's a good card. Okay, here we go. Oh, let's see here. All right. Oh, Three of Cups. That's not too bad. That's good. And we're all hopeful. Let's just say that. And if you're just joining in and you know nothing about astrology, well, this is where we look at timestamps and we take a look and see what the energy is at that moment and how it will fare for the people who are involved with those charts. You can do that for birth charts, event charts, marriage charts, divorce charts, court charts. You can really see what's going on. And we're going to look at Duchess Meghan's birth chart and wedding chart tonight. We're also going to look at Wallis Simpson's wedding chart as well, and some of her transits when King Edward abdicated. I just wanted to let you know that I am going to be discussing Queen Camilla tomorrow night, so I hope you can join me. And I'll have more information on my Instagram, and I'll also make sure to put out an announcement on the community tab if you're a subscriber. Most of you who follow astrology, well, could be familiar with the perfection chart. It really shows you what is highlighting in your life, what's going on at that moment. And you can find these charts in astroseek.com. If you pull your birth chart and you click the little orange tab that says perfections, this will pop up. And the seventh house is partnerships, can be marriage, and there are challenges that come in through the partner. So we can already see that. Hello, Jody. Nice to see you. And oh yeah, I know. Well, you ask and I deliver. So Astronaut Kim, good to know you belong here. And it's always tea time. Okay, now what we're going to do is I just wanted to also note that at the bottom there, you can see Jupiter. This is her dasha. You can go to Cosmic Squares and look at what your dasha is. And lucky planet Jupiter. Meghan is in a Jupiter dasha. It started in 2015 and it will go till 2031. Often in a Jupiter period, things are suddenly bigger. Your house becomes a castle. You're going to get married. You might get married to someone who might have bigger aspirations than you originally thought. Or maybe they're just a prince. So glow with the flow, good for you. It depends on where your Jupiter is. You might be in a Jupiter dasha and your natal Jupiter might be in a square, or you'll have to look at your progressed house as well. See where your planet is when it's in the progressed house as well as your birth chart. And you'll be able to get some information. And so now I'm showing you Saturn. So Saturn for her was between September the 28th, 2017 and April 2020, and then a mini dasha of a double Saturn right before her wedding. So she was really depressed during that time. Saturn was coming down on her. So if you look through your Cosmic Square dasha calendar, you can see upcoming times where you might be a little bit sad, where there's a lot of responsibility, where people just hate you. There's a lot of mean people around you. So it really does show how Meghan was just so sad right before her wedding and people were being so mean. a very awkward history of the Rolls Royce that carried Meghan Markle to her fairy tale wedding. So the car, an act of tasteless revenge. There was much to catch the eye, including the Duchess of Sussex's minimalist silk Givenchy wedding gown. But there was something else too that was worthy of attention. The Rolls Royce chosen to take the bride to the ceremony. Magnificent in its own right, the maroon-colored Phantom 4, transporting Meghan and her mother Doria from the Cliveden House Hotel. 46 years earlier, it had been used to convey another American divorcee, the Duchess of Windsor, to the funeral of her husband, the Duke, in 1972. So there she is pictured in the Phantom. And notice the color too. You're going to be able to see the color. This is her. This is Duchess of Windsor going to the funeral. And here it is, a beautiful, it's like a maroon Scorpio color Phantom. Gorgeous, gorgeous car. We saw these in The Crown and other famous movies. So it was like, wow, it was quite an entrance. But was there revenge behind it? So everybody's talking about the monarchy that is changing. That's Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is change, and really, I mean, it means to change. And Pluto is transformed, but it is also the ruler of the 8th house or monarchy. So right in that first degree, monarchy changes. And there's this opposition with her and her identity. She's really roped into this here, and how these royals are dealing with their life, and she's tethered. She would rather not be. What the press does, and yes, Pluto just entered Aquarius. So just at that first degree, the monarchy changes. Crazy. And she's stuck in it. You can see that red line there. Now, one thing that it's opposing, that Pluto, is her Mercury. And Mercury is to speak, to be a duchess. She's not able to be a duchess. And this Plutonian, the monarchy, basically, they are trying to block her from being a duchess or a royal, but that's what she's supposed to be. And it's going to be in there, that opposition, for quite a few years. So it's like, welcome, Meghan. Okay, now go over there. We don't ever want to see you. And that kind of energy is just, it's going to be in place for a while. And this is 2029. You can see Pluto is just a little bit out of that opposition. Not really, it's still in there. So that's 2029. Pluto's still in there. Now, thankfully, she has a trine to the moon, and it's in the 3rd house. So it's in Libra. And that, to me, tells me that she's going to be so super famous. She's going to be able to speak, because the 3rd house is to speak. And then also in Libra is diplomacy. So I'm going to have more about that in a little bit. But one thing I wanted to say that she should watch out for, and all of you should watch out for, is when you see Black Moon Lilith and it's transiting through a house, and look, it is conjunct Venus, which represents her father figure. This is a father figure. It's also in the 3rd house of siblings, uncles, and cousins. So if this 3rd house represents any of those people, and you have Black Moon Lilith going through there, you had better not be tempted with any kind of suggestions from them, communications from them. It seems as if a father figure is reaching out to her mom, saying, this is what we want to do, and we're really sorry, and that kind of stuff. It seems from this chart. So when you see Black Moon Lilith coming in, that's the house that you really have to prepare yourself, and also, I would say, protect yourself. I'm glad that it exists for us to see, because it gives us a little insight as to what is going on, who might be shady, and which house. Does her chart show if she is narcissistic? Well, the good part about it is she's not a Pisces. But what we would do is we could look at where Pisces is. It's in the ninth house. That's kind of like, I mean, you don't get off easily just because you don't have Neptune really strong in your chart. You would look in the places where you care about how you look and basically be a narcissist on the house where Pisces might be. So for her, it's the ninth house. It is the press. And, she cares. Basically, it's all about me because it is all about her. It's in the ninth house of press and publications. So you can look at your chart and see where you might be a little more narcissistic. I don't think we escape some of these energies. Thank you, designs. when when the castle isn't falling down, that actually might be was that an omen? My castle behind me, I mean, it is a castle and it falls. So that really is hopefully not my castle. There's a lot of planets that are going through her seventh house. This is very challenging for a marriage. You're getting to know how to communicate with each other because of that Mercury there in the first house. Venus in Virgo gives me Cinderella vibes. That's true. Well, the third house is what you're going to be talking about in your life. So Virgo is clothing, pets, service, routine. And so it's interesting that the third house, and we're going to get a little bit more sophisticated too tonight because we're going to look at the older siblings. So far, we've only looked at the third house, which is just general siblings. But we can also look at the 11th house and the 11th house Lord for older siblings, and that can give us more information. Thanks, Jody. Well, it's not really something that is so important to me because the charts are, I mean, I guess it should be more important because it is important for you guys to see how correct the charts are, how we should depend on some of these charts sometimes. I just feel like, constant validation is annoying, so I try not to do it. This is the transits for when Edward abdicated, okay? And it's super interesting when it comes to comparing her and Meghan because you're seeing the same type of stuff here. You're seeing a drop. Something falls. And who is it? It's Jupiter. Jupiter represents the husband. And how is the husband feeling? And I think it was a little bit after. It's her mate, basically, that they got married. I'm trying to think when they got married. But anyway, partner is pissed. Look at that Mars right there. So it's a fall. Okay. And Saturn represents your responsibility. It's in Scorpio, meaning the monarchy. So his responsibility was divorce, and it was, and I say it is her chart, but it's still the partner, and it merges up here. So it's a tradition that is basically, the word divorce comes up. And how interesting is this? We're constantly, I don't know about constantly, occasionally being reminded about Meghan and how she compares to Wallis Simpson and vice versa. And my theory is that that's the way they wanted that narrative, they meaning the palace, in the very beginning, noting that phantom and also perhaps getting them to marry in Windsor, which is the symbol for Wallis Simpson as the Duchess of Windsor. So it's almost like they were pushing the they were pushing that narrative that they wanted her, and I'm not sure if this is true, but they wanted Meghan to be like Wallis Simpson, but it backfired because Wallis Simpson is the symbol of change, and they only strengthened it, in my opinion. Now, notice that this is her birth chart. Ascendant is in Aquarius, the symbol for change, the symbol for an electric shock. And Meghan even dressed and styled her hair like Wallis. She did. Okay. And Wallace lived in the Frogmore cottage. Okay, that's possible. Now, frogs are Leo, by the way, or they might not be associated with Leo directly, but you always see something about a frog when it comes to Leo things. I do not know why. Let's look at Uranus is at the top of Wallis Simpson's chart, and that represents divorce. Okay, so Uranus is divorce. She would be seen as a divorcee. 18 degrees is the evil degree. So the evil divorcee, and she would be seen in the ninth house of the publications. With Uranus, this is basically changing the monarchy because that's Scorpio. So crazy, huh? Uranus was in Scorpio, changing the monarchy. And now the flip is Pluto, Scorpio, is now in Aquarius, which is Uranus. So that same energy is just, it's kind of switching the sign and the planet, but it's all the same, if that makes sense. Hey, Taurus Moon Tarot, you might be able to help us out later. Although we have quite a few psychics on here and they are so helpful with all my cards. Now, notice that she has, whenever you have Pluto, which is like obsession, and the moon, that is a public obsession. And so you can see how she would be super famous. It also means very, 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 very famous. And in this stellium, when you have a Saturn in the middle, it usually means of history. So very famous woman in history. And the other thing too is you're looking at a lot of Gemini. Now I see this a lot when it comes to TV people. But in her case, what Gemini would mean is a socialite. She was known as a socialite and a mistress. And so the sun is in the fifth house of mistresses and families, I guess you could say. So, and one other thing too, look at how Jupiter, this basically shows her partner. Jupiter and the sun are going to represent her partner. And the partner is, it's funny, even in her chart, even she finds the height of wealth and just global notoriety. And she still got somebody who wasn't doing so well. Jupiter in Leo is okay, but it's squaring Saturn. This shows basically restrictions on the husband. So that's one, that's Jupiter. Then we look to Sun, where the sun is, and the sun is at 29 degrees, an anaretic degree, which means that he's not as effective. And Mercury would, or Gemini would be part of that. He would not be able to effectively communicate in certain ways. And I think that's part of the style of his speaking as well. Also notice that there's some Libra here, and we're going to see that too in Meghan's chart. This shows diplomacy. So just keep that in mind. So we're seeing from her chart, we've got a guy who, you get this chart, you're going to find a guy, you might really love him, but he's not going to be going that far. He, at least in the public eye, at least how he is perceived. So I'm going to go to some questions and then I'm going to go back to the charts and then we'll do a card. Jupiter Saturn is very, very tricky. It's really, Saturn represents the monarchy because Saturn is the responsibility and he blocks his responsibility. So it's easy to see in these charts that, that was what he was assigned to do. He was assigned to be born and have this destiny of just saying no. Saturn is to say no. Now, this is their marriage chart. And you'll notice that obviously the big divorce, meaning the divorce of just cutting off the responsibilities, is in the ninth house. So we're always looking at the ninth house. Whenever you see a cluster of stuff in the ninth house, it means Whatever you're doing is notable and possibly headline material. Okay. And so, what you would do, and we're going to look at Meghan's chart, Meghan's wedding chart. But the ascendant is in Virgo. The descendant is in Pisces. The ascendant is the man, the groom. Okay. And she's in Pisces. She's foreign to him. So this is the bride. Now notice that this is Virgo. Meghan's chart is right around Leo. So you can kind of see that the palace is behind some of the wedding, maybe even putting together, the details and the date. And the date is very, very important, but I'll get to that. So in this case, they're out of the palace and they're getting married and they look very happy. And she is Mercury here in the ninth house. Oh, I'm sorry. He's Mercury. He's Mercury because it's usually the person who asks the other person to marry them. And he initiates. So that's where the chart ruler comes from the groom. And so Mercury is here. And he basically is cut off and is cutting off. And that's Uranus right there. And then you've got Pisces. So you've got this foreign woman. And where is she? Pisces is right there. So very part of, like, she's a big part of this identity of this wedding chart. And so there's a trine to the ninth house. And this is a woman who is photographed a lot. And you're going to see Neptune in the first house for Taylor Swift, Kim Kardashian, and a bunch of people who are basically who influence. She was a big influence. And she liked her wine, just like Taylor does. You're always seeing them drinking. So this would be somebody who might drink regularly because of that Virgo. Okay. So it's that is so funny. Maybe this is why I had such trouble with my production earlier, because they don't want us making fun of them. So no, but there is that dark hair, the dark hair. Thank you, illustrious orchestrations. So I hope you're getting this. Yeah, Neptune in the first house, smoke and mirrors, absolutely. Somebody who seems like a dream to the groom. So the groom is just seeing this beauty, and that could also be somehow, maybe what do you call it? Narcissistic in a sense. Yes, thank you, Bruiser. Heather Val Evans, do you ever do family charts for mapping? People like to see how degree placements. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you can see generational things from charts, absolutely. And rose-colored glasses. Yes, the illusion of glamour and grandeur. So they were married in France, okay? And so, of course, France is a Leo trait. So they were going to put the Leo in there one way or another. And remember, her last name is Simpson, which is a Leo name. So there's some Leo in here, even though they're kind of escaping. It's not in the chart. Interesting how Leo is the hidden enemy of the chart, which is up here. Somebody who has a lot of Gemini traits. So I don't know. I'm not going to get into that, but that's kind of weird. Maybe the palace. You could say the palace is the hidden enemy of this wedding chart. Now, before I get to Meghan, I just wanted to show you that, first of all, you can say that Mercury is the groom. You can say Neptune is the wife, and look how there is a beautiful trine between both of them. That's nice. When you have a wedding chart, you can have all this other stuff going on. But if you have a nice trine, then you really love each other. And especially with Neptune there, you idealize each other. You just, oh, they're just the best thing. So that's always nice. Just enjoy that dream. The problem is, if this is the palace, which is the sun representing the hidden enemy, look how they're trying to basically tear that dream up. They are against that dream of the marriage, but they get married anyway. There's some other things too. I mean, this is a book worthy type of romance involving Nazis and Germany and all of that stuff. But there are other planets that can represent Wallis and the Duke. Jupiter represents the husband. Venus represents the wife. So you've got that part, and it looks like they're not agreeing on something. So it looks like half and half for them. And I think it has to do with the fact that they're living overseas, the ninth house. She's pretty angry. 29 degrees means she doesn't have any power. So the lack of power, I think, with the family is a problem. It's a major problem, perhaps, in their marriage. And note the retrograde for Jupiter. This is a husband in the chart. It's the husband that is flawed, that doesn't have strength. Not to say that if you have Jupiter retrograde, that's the case for your husband, because it's nice. Sometimes they'll have trines or what have you that help elevate that Jupiter. But I just don't like to, and when I say your chart, I mean in your wedding chart. It's never a good idea to marry during Jupiter retrograde. That's what I say. And if you did, and you're like, oh crap, you can always go and renew your vows. There are other ways to redo the chart. So, okay. Angel D, isn't it amazing that King Charles III is sitting on that throne with his queen being the other woman? Good. Yes, good observation. I love it. Yes, and public resistance, 10th house. And yeah, so the south node for this marriage chart, and that is way up here. This is saying goodbye. This is letting go of your responsibility, of the government, of your career, basically. Okay. And then the north node is your home in a foreign country, could be some kind of Sagittarius type of energy. So we noted Jupiter in retrograde, which represents the Duke of Windsor. But we also should note that he is up here, the Lord of the chart, okay? And it falls onto these very angry people down here in the monarchy. And who would those angry people be? The brother, third house brother, okay? And so interesting how his family energy, his sibling energy, would be the same as his bride energy, which would be Venus in Aries. Both are pretty angry for whatever reason. There's a lot of anger there. So it's kind of a doozy, but you still have really nice trines. And okay, so we have Jupiter retrograde. Okay, so we have an opposition to Pluto, which is a battle for power. Pluto is like powerful. Cancer is the public. So public transformation. The public doesn't like him. They're really upset at him. Everybody's upset at him. And then you've got this very flawed, it looks like, I mean, it's a person in there. This kind of looks like an evil man. It could be a sibling, or an uncle or something like that. But somebody really does not support him there. I wonder if that's yet another story we haven't heard. But it is in the third house, still can represent a brother, and Mars would be the angry, the anger as part of him basically thumbing his nose at his responsibility and just taking off with his loved one, which is essentially what Prince Harry did. So it's a little crazy. And if you're wanting to know, it's kind of crazy. Gemini is a carbon copy. They're twins. There's so much Gemini here. And it's just, it's almost like there's another one coming like them. So I would really want to see, though, something that had to do with Uranus. Like, it would be better to see Uranus. That would be like future twins. But I don't really see anything like that. I'd have to think about that. There's definitely there's some twinning energy that comes with Markle, with the Duchess and the Duke of Sussex. Now, okay, so here is Meghan Markle's wedding chart. That's too funny. I think a lot of people can relate. Or Venus retrograde, exactly. Or 29. Basically, the 29 degrees are like retrogrades. So I have Jupiter 29 degrees. So, in Capricorn. None of my partners spent a lot of money. Let's just say that. So, I know, Angel D, you've got some really cool emojis. What's up with that? Yeah, maybe an advisor to the king. Bad advice. I agree. And his brother denying him funds. Yes, exactly. And I saw something about the crown here. Totally stranger than a soap opera. Oh, yeah. The crown had a fun depiction of the abdication. I kind of remember it, but you'd have to remind me. What if Harry was Edward reincarnated? I don't know, but it's really, yes, twinning. It's really starting to, even not reincarnated necessarily, but as far as twinning, we definitely are seeing that with Princess Catherine. And there's some fear for her health. It's more serious, I think, than most people think. In fact, I'd like to draw a card on it. I want to see something before we get to Meghan's wedding chart. I want to see. Okay, hold on one second. Okay. I want to ask about Catherine. I mean, I know it's not part of the show, but I'd like to know about Princess Catherine and her health. And, I just want to know any information about Princess Catherine that we need to know. It seems as if there's a carbon copy of Diana that's happening in her health. And does it have anything to do with Diana? Is her health? Well, just give us some kind of card that has to do with Catherine's health. Woo. Okay. Okay. Well, that doesn't look so bad. It looks the Hierophant. That's kind of like rules, responsibilities. I don't know. What do you guys think? The Hierophant, mental health. Yes. I know a lot of people are concerned for her. Okay. Thank you. Yes, can you please do that, Taurus Moon? Taurus Moon Tarot has a channel, by the way, but I'd have to look it up. I'm not sure, or you can say it in the chat. Well, thank you. Hello. Let's see. I have a question about English law. Oh, great. How does it work with inheritance? Does Camilla get it all, or does it get split between Camilla get 50% and the boys? I don't know. It's such a good question. I think most of it goes to the family, and she gets a nice cut. But he's the king. He gets to do what he wants, so he has a little leeway there. That's what I think. Thank you, Angel D. I've heard numerologists say that May is not a good month to get married. Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that, because that's what I wanted to talk about. And guys, tell me what you think about the Hierophant with Kate. I think Princess Catherine might, that certainly does not seem like the mood of Princess Catherine right now, but could be her future. Maybe I mean, I hope that doesn't mean something really serious. So, well, thank you, Glow with the Flow. That's nice of you. Prince William gets it all since he'll be the new monarch. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. That card, it's all about the firm tradition. Yeah, it's tradition. It's rules. It is the gray men. So why are they there? Oh, I wonder if she is having health problems because of the firm, the institution. It's driving her freaking nuts. I know. You said it, and I was thinking it, and I hope that's not the case. I really. Lisa James, I got the Magician, Ace of Cups, and Five of Swords. Mind over matter, happy announcement, recovery. Oh, thank God. Taurus Moon, you pulled a Hanged Man in reverse for her health. It will be revealed. Well, it already has, in a sense, not officially, like what I think you're saying, but you can see in the tabloids or whatever, they have pictures of her hands bandaged, and that can be an indicator of a certain health issue. I won't go into it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share Meghan's. Yeah, and I wanted to go back to May for a second. May 19th, 2018. Hello. They got married in May. So I also wonder, look at that ascendant. It's in Leo, okay? This is right by Regulus. This is royalty, right? Royalty is the one that is planning this wedding. Either that or it represents Harry. So you could say either one, but it's a powerful entity. And I'm afraid to say that there are a lot of people who know about that old wives' tale. Mary and May rue the day. It is, and it used to be, I think it's old folklore that it was some kind of, it was like animal mating season, or there's some kind of season where it was not good to do that. And then June, you're in the clear. I can't remember the whole thing, but so could their whole union have had revenge behind it from the planners? No wonder they couldn't get along with those people, because at least some of them, because maybe they didn't have their best interest in mind. They're planning that funeral car. They're planning the wedding in May. If it wasn't Harry and Meghan that chose it, they probably suggested a May wedding, and this couple doesn't know anything about that old wives' tale. So that just gives me pause. It makes me feel like this chart was sabotaged in a sense. Okay, blocked inheritance, Neptune, Pisces at the 8th. Oh, inheritance goes missing. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yep. It's good that I'm letting you see this ahead of time so you guys can already pick it out. And yeah, I mean, if you got married in May, you can just go and redo it. There's no problem with that. Yep. Yes. Oh, Susie's in the house. Katherine is Cap. Okay. That makes me feel good because in some of her charts, it kind of looks like she's saving the day. So we're going to need Princess Catherine here. Yep, glow with the flow. I think you're right. Then you all get disconnected. Oh, what's that mean? I think she's had it with him. Susie. Now, with me saying that about May, I forgot to say this part. Tell me how, if that worked out for you, if a May marriage was just absolutely fabulous, or was it a total disaster? But remember, May is algol month. Okay, that's why you're going to get algol, and it's the devil. You don't want the devil in your marriage chart. So, hey, Elizabeth, nice to see you. We've got a new subscriber, and okay, for this chart is the Chariot, controlled chaos. And also because I'm going to be talking about the car with this wedding chart. So let's take a look at it now. Conveyances are third house. I mean, just because I'm looking at the third house, that's why I'm picking it. And so that I don't forget. But Venus is ruling the third house of conveyances. It's in the 29 degree. So it's not the best. And it's a twin of another car. So there's where the twin comes in there. And Venus represents the bride. So the bride is seen as the twin of probably the Duchess of Windsor. And Windsor is, playing out as the location here and also as the area that is represented by the title of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Now, one thing is really interesting about Windsor, and I was like, what is up with Windsor? Like, there must be something about it that has some kind of energy towards it because of what's happening here. And I looked it up, and they have a lot of problems with airport noise, which is represented by Uranus. And so, we've got divorcees getting married in the town of Windsor. It's kind of weird. It's all just symbols. So we've got Harry and we've got the royals here. He's the sun. Now, the sun is in Taurus. It's right in, it is in the Medusa territory. This is Medusa and the Seven Sisters. Okay, so don't look them in the eye, okay, because you'll turn to stone. That's how. Now, Heather, I know you've got planets in Algol, and a lot of other people do as well. But some people can see you as somebody who might be a little dangerous, who has a lot of power, who could turn you to stone if they wanted to. Yes, Medusa. If any one of you remember Clash of the Titans with handsome Harry Hamlin playing Perseus. And what did he do? He cut off the neck of Medusa. Of course, it's not from the movie. It's actually from the mythology that her head was cut off. And that's why when we get to the Algol territory in crime or in mundane astrology, it is having basically losing one's head. And we have that for either the royals, this could be the palace, or it could be Harry, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, let's keep in mind, now you remember when we were looking at the Duchess of Windsor, she was an ascendant in Aquarius. And look at what represents the bride in this chart, Aquarius. So Uranus represents Meghan. And that makes sense too, because think about Meghan. Think about how it seems as if she's always changing out her staff. How, the divorce itself represents some kind of change. And she's about to change her residence. So it seems as if she was a daughter of, of divorce, or a child of divorce. So there's a lot of changing throughout her life that she is having to deal with. So she's being introduced to Aquarius in this life, that's for sure. Learning how to deal with change. So if you look at your birth chart and you look at where Aquarius is, that's where you're going to be changing a lot. And sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. Mine is in my 5th house. So, family changes and stuff. I think it's in the 5th house. Yeah, it's in the late degrees. Okay. So, Harry, Meghan, Harry or the palace, Meghan, and there is the groom, Harry, retrograde, just like the Duke of Windsor. And what is happening with Harry here? There's a fall. It's a collapse, okay? A total collapse. You've got Mercury here, represents the community, hopes and dreams. So the hopes and dreams are falling because of the energy in this chart. I shouldn't say because of, but it's reflected in the energy of this chart. So it just falls. And then we have, let's see, we just have one T-square. I shouldn't say just because they're difficult, but it's a T-square with the 3rd house of siblings, aunts, uncles, and neighbors. And, Prince William was a neighbor. So that's not working out in this chart here. The good news is that Harry has something just like the Duke of Windsor, where he almost has like a safety net. And that is an amazing grand trine here. Okay, and also note that the husband is trining Jupiter. I'm sorry, not Jupiter, Neptune. So it's kind of like a dreamy husband. He's idolizing things maybe, but it's also film, photography, famous film, famous photography. So something is coming out where he is able to reach his hopes and dreams in this, from what is represented in this chart. And we want to see, Mercury is here. That's Gemini. This is the 2nd house too. So Mercury also represents the money that would be coming in from the couple, but it would be interrupted. You see that Uranus there. And this is money interrupted. And look at the squares here. It's stuck up there. And it's all the press wants to talk about in the 9th house. So you're seeing that. I thought it's so interesting that she is Aquarius. This is a person who, there are sudden changes. And what happened? Sudden change right before the wedding with her dad. So father types of change is a symbol for that wedding. And it would definitely foretell certain things. Yes, I agree. Angel D or Susie. Pluto moon, close connection to his mom and kids. Pluto moon. Well, it's an opposition there. Yeah, Pluto is the 5th house, but Pluto is the monarchy, and not being able to get anything from the monarchy necessarily, although there is a trine to the sun. So that could be him, that could be the palace, but it's hard to say. You would have to know who decided on the date, and that's going to depend on who's who in the chart. So if the palace decided on the date, then they are the sun in Algol. Mom to the kids. Okay. Pluto moon, close connection of his mom to the kids. I'm going to have to see that. Now, the 5th house, of course, is family. Pluto is somebody else's family. So it's kind of like they're both dealing with somebody else's family. And there is a trine here to, let's see, that's the 10th house. Lots of 10th house power because this is a career that was supposed to happen. They were supposed to have some type of a career. Now, Saturn retrograde is the symbol for the father. And so you're automatically going to see her dad feeling sick, then his dad feeling sick. But there is a trine here to their MC. It doesn't look like it's just a lot of hatred there. Although at the same time, it could also show there's access and the ability to make decisions, at least from Prince Charles' side, from the family. And Pluto represents a monarchy, so monarchy family. This is Charles here. Funny how he's at the 8th degree of jealousy and betrayals and revenge and all of that stuff. But 8 degrees also represents the monarchy. Kind of crazy. So I thought that was really interesting about Jupiter retrograde. And also the Medusa thing. I mean, this is a Medusa chart. Do not look them in the eye, whether it's, I don't know if it's the palace or if it's Harry. It seems like it could be both. And they both wanted to cut each other off at the head and just say, we're done. So that's a concern. And also Saturn right now is transiting through their 7th chart or their 7th house. And so there's a coldness there. There can also be, just problems with, it's the responsibility, the partnership responsibility, and not being able to, with Prince Harry moving out there, well, not moving, but traveling out to London, that would be a first example of how she's kind of shut off. There's a coldness there. So wondering how that Saturn, how that's going to take place, because that's transiting through their 7th house of the wedding chart. Now, Polaris, this is the bride, the twin bride, and it's conjunct Polaris. And that can mean sadness, somebody who's sad. But what's picking her up is Uranus, which is changing things. She loves to change and it works for her. And so that kind of gives her strength. She's got a mini grand trine here in the 11th house. And the 11th house is very lucky. So it kind of gives that a little bit more strength. It could also show that she is a twin to somebody who didn't have much power. So this could be the Duchess of Windsor in this chart. And funny, you can put planets together. So if this was Windsor, the Windsor wife, or the Windsor twins, and Uranus represents Windsor because of, the airport issues and all of that. So it does show that they both have some ability to affect change. And she absolutely not, and I don't like to say it because I can't imagine that she would want to be associated. She doesn't want to be seen as someone who brought anything down, but it does seem like she has a twin. So it's up to you on what you think could be. I don't like part of fortune and how it's in that T square, but it's really the brother. It's success with the brother. It's a failure with the brother. So this chart is going to basically reflect that, it's just not going to work out with that relationship as long as this chart is taking place. Okay. He definitely is. Definitely is. A lot of Neptune there. And I think it's vice versa too. What they do for service blows, vertex at the 6th cusp. Thank you for pointing that out, Heather. Vertex, and it is conjunct Pluto. Oh my God. That's the monarchy. That is the transformation of an institution. That's the point of this chart. But look who's blocking it. Point of fortune, the 3rd house. The brother is blocking that transformation. You can see that in that chart. So just to reiterate, you have the monarchy, Pluto, in Capricorn, the institution, a transformation of the transformation of the institution. And then you have a T-square that is not allowing this. And this is a sibling. So crazy. At 20 degrees, that's Scorpio. That's a Scorpio degree. Do not mess with him. You're messing with Scorpios here. They sting. And so they're going to keep getting stung. And Pluto represents the 4th house, and it represents the groom's house. The groom there is in that, it's kind of stuck in there, in that palace, and he falls. I wonder if Mercury has anything to do with that cottage, because it's kind of like they put him in the cottage. They change him to the cottage. Ugh. God. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to look at one thing here with her solar return chart. I mean, I think we got the hang of some of these predictions here. It's kind of wild. And we're going to get to what I think is coming up in February for her. We already pretty much nailed it with Saturn retrograde. 2 days before the announcement, we were saying something was going to happen here that was very sad. Something was going to be cutting off. This was in the What's Their Next Move show. And Saturn represents a father. So it was 2 days after that they announced about, dad's diagnosis. But that was really in the early parts of February. Well, what's this? And I'd be interested to see what you guys think before I say it. So let's go to the cards. And yeah, astronaut Kim, the Black Moon Lilith. Exactly. That was, where was it conjunct? Let's see where that was. Yeah, Black Moon Lilith conjunct Pluto. So this is, I mean, you could read that as like evil empire. I shouldn't say that. Let's just say the bad characteristics of the current institution. Not all of it's bad. Okay. Oh no, Angel D. That's so funny. Oh yeah, those Scorpios, they're all hiding, but they're all stinging each other behind the scenes. All right, so now I'm going to ask, do you think so, Taurus Moon Tarot? Did I already say what I was going to ask a question about? God, this was the palace behind this chart. How about that? Was the palace behind this wedding chart? Were they the major planners of this? And was it sabotage? Was this young couple who just wanted to get freaking married? Were they sabotaged? Were they sabotaged? Angel D, cracking me up. Okay. Were they sabotaged? How many times am I going to say this? I just want to make sure everyone knows what I'm asking. Was this beautiful young couple who just wanted to get married, were they sabotaged by someone? Let's see what it says. Oh, we keep getting this one. Reverse Queen of Pentacles. I'm sorry to say, but that almost makes me think that it was the queen. Do you think it could have been the queen? And I know it's taboo to say that because a lot of people get mad at you. But yep, Queen of the Pentacles. This is what she looks like. It's reversed. And that's a lot of Taurus in there too. Taurus at the top. That's somebody very wealthy. Let's see. Who's the queen in this chart? The queen, meaning Queen Elizabeth II. Let's see here. All right. So if this is the groom, it's the MC. The MC is Mummy. And that's Venus here. Well, I mean, Gemini is too. Queen Elizabeth II. She's up there. So weird that it would be also representative of Meghan, the bride, too. So both have twos, or both are twins in a sense. And Meghan named her child after Lilibet. So another twin, two names. So funny. I think that card might be Queen Elizabeth II, who was behind this. She seemed like such a sweet lady. Let's see. Yeah, I am going to agree with that. You think so? Come on, Jody. We can stop for a second. All right. Protecting money and not seeing him in value. Don't forget politics. I could believe it was the queen. Thank you, Nadia. And was she a Taurus? Was Queen Elizabeth II a Taurus? Oh my God. And she comes up as a Taurus in Charles's chart as the very famous. So the queen was behind it the whole time. By the way, did you know that it's bad luck to wear pearls on your wedding day? Oops. I wore my grandmother's pearls. So eek. Queen Elizabeth, it was her world. They were just living in it. Very interesting. Okay. So crazy. So we've got Queen Elizabeth in here. We've got the brother. We've got palaces. We've got the Duchess of Windsor. We have a fall by the weak groom who has a safety net. And I wonder if this could be Diana. Mother's ghost holds him. Ugh, makes me sad. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. And then the other thing too is what I don't like Mars. Mars is basically here. It looks like it's up here, but it's here. And it is squaring Uranus. You know, that's not good. I mean, Mars is a weapon. So, it could be against a backdrop of people fighting or something like that. That's a possibility. Thankfully, Mars doesn't represent. Oh, okay. This is, see if you can see that. Can you see that? Okay. This is Meghan, and she's up there in the ninth house and she's fighting. So Uranus with Mars can be very surprising acts of anger, or a lot of anger towards her that's just shocking, like just upsets, angry upsets. So that's a possibility. Now, keep in mind also, hello, remember how she said that she was suicidal? Aquarius is suicidal. So that would also represent some of the energy that she was feeling. She just wanted out. So this is a concern. Now, of course, you know, the Duchess of Windsor didn't do anything like that. And the ninth house is also a lucky house. So that's really nice for Meghan to be in. It's, it's just one of the lucky houses, ninth and 11th. So that's really good. Jupiter, he's stuck down there in the fourth house unless he has a little help. And so that could be Mummy. Mummy is moon. Neptune is, spirit. Mummy's spirit in the eighth house of inheritances. So he was able to use her inheritance. And the other thing, too, is the fifth house of kids is ruled by Jupiter, but it's retrograde. So there's that energy. And, there would be one would have the name of Mummy, of grandmama, but not able to get the inheritances. Maybe, I don't know, there's something they're not able to get to. However, it looks like they're going to become very famous. You've got the moon, you've got Neptune. I think it could have something to do with Diana. Maybe Diana is leading them into something. They could also be very famous in coastal real estate. And they could have their own reality show. So, yes, lots of quick, angry outbursts. Yes. And that might just be Meghan enduring that from the ninth house, which would be the press. Kind of nuts. Yes, May weddings. Your son's birthday is April 21st. April's a nice month. No May weddings or wearing pearls. Exactly. Make a note. The footage of the queen using a sword to cut a cake as she felt it would be more dramatic was awesome. Yeah, that was cool. So, okay. And so that was pretty telling there. If you're going to look at your hopes and dreams, you're going to look at the 11th house, and it's in Gemini. So Gemini is socializing. It is speaking out. And Mercury is here. I'm going to erase this. Mercury is here. And it is squaring South Node and the North Node. It's in the middle of these the nodes, basically. So it's kind of stuck up there. They can't really talk for work. And, oh, this is interesting. Well, first of all, their hopes and dreams are stuck to an extent. But it does look like Dad is helping them somehow. Dad is giving them a little bit of a reprieve or an olive branch or something. He's being kind to them. And North Node is what you get. South Node is what you leave behind. And I guess in leaving behind, they left behind their jobs. And it would be a foreign job. Aquarius can be foreign. Trying to think what that was. They left behind, let's just say the sixth house, the job. But the North Node is in the 12th house. That's what you're going to get. And that's kind of like a foreign kingdom. This is Leo. So there's definitely going to be, look at how there's a square to it. And this could be financial. They're not able to build the palace they want because there are some financial restrictions. But I'd say they're doing pretty well. Okay, what I wanted to do was go to her solar return, which is what I was doing earlier. And have you been thinking about Neptune and the moon? The moon is a home. And I think I actually mentioned this a little while back. And moon is home, Neptune is water or a flood. So I think they're going to have to be dealing with that flood out there in California. And that would be an example. And, I don't need to be told that, the predictions are right on. We just want to see if this was right with the timing. That's all. So was it a flood? Could it be a famous flood? It makes headlines. I know there's a lot of flooding now. This could affect them in some way. And it's like a flash. Uranus is flash fast. It's a lot of water. So that's a possibility. But also, that can be some kind of a symbol too, like a flood of something else, a flood of fame, a flood of international headlines. So look at that flooding. Hopefully, it's not going to touch their home, but look at that flooding to see if there are some other metaphors, or if that's a metaphor that you could add to other circumstances. So that's February to March 4th. So we're coming up on March 4th, sort of, and that's going to be their 8th house. And Mars will be attached to it. There's some anger here with whatever this is. This could be that famous movie we were talking about, or a famous flood. There's some upset. But looks like Harry is going to make everything okay. He's doing something international that everybody's going to be excited about. So I would say, why would I say that was March? Because Mars rules her March. Okay, it's going to rule something else for you probably, but Mars, and then it trines Jupiter, which represents the 7th house of the mate. So there's some kind of good news coming in. It's not only going to be for March, but it'll be for April too, since he's actually in that house. So you would say that it would come true for both months. So, and now there's some part of fortune there where, this could be the Invictus Games, it could be something military related, but we're also looking at, this is the month where they're going to receive something. Okay, and that would be March 4th to April 4th. And why? Because the North Node means that's what you're going to receive that year. So this next month, they're going to get it. So I don't know what that means. 8th house can be inheritances, real estate. They might be closing on a place. And Chiron can sometimes mean some hurt, some wounds from something. So I'm not sure what that would be. But usually when it's so close to the North Node and what you're going to get, it can show that, you're feeling pretty bruised when you receive whatever you're receiving. So those are kind of the predictions there. So let's see what else here. Val politics. Yeah. He just landed in LA shortly ago. Lana, I am behind but listening. I find these royal readings so relaxing and interesting. Thank you. Oh, that's so nice. Good. When you said coastal property last time, I thought, is Meghan moving them to LA? Okay, so you remember I said coastal property. I wasn't sure if I dreamt that or not, because Neptune is a dream. I do a lot of dreaming. Meghan did get to Americanize it. The wedding queen's face was upset. She did not seem pleased. And it's just coming to me now. Think about her face with their wedding and Charles's face during his wedding in 81. Kind of the same energy there. Like, am I really seeing what I'm seeing? No. I'm sure she's pleased. I'm sure she's very pleased. Oh, I'm sure he's really happy to marry her. He's just being official. So it's kind of like the same feeling. I do too. Yeah, I know. Well, that's a flood, and that is fluctuations with the moon. It's tides. It's something, could be water related, could be film related, could be a release of a film like we talked about last time. And it has to do with their family. So Pluto's in the fifth house, showing there is some kind of a transformation, but this could be dream real estate. Now, I think you guys saw the pictures that came out while Harry was in, or Prince Harry was in London. She was snapped looking very happy. And I guess I wonder, did she have somebody take those? Because they were perfect. But anyway, paparazzi took her smiling in her Range Rover, and she had a cup in her hand, and she just looked awesome and happy. And so I don't know. I mean, it seems like she's excited about something. And I wonder if that's this new place. But what is moving? It's Uranus. It is change. So that's it. Anybody who, wants to be part of Meghan's world is going to they're going to be introduced to Uranus. They're going to be introduced to change. And sometimes that's difficult for people, but it's definitely exciting. Okay. Yes, they live in California. I know, I was thinking that. Okay. They didn't have permission. So we're gonna do another card, and let's ask about Queen Elizabeth. Why was she so upset about this union? I mean, probably because she was a movie star. I mean, I could answer that, or a television star, whatever. But let me do some cards. Why was Queen Elizabeth II so upset about Harry and Meghan, allegedly about Harry and Meghan's union? Maybe she was absolutely just incensed that they would marry in May. She's all big on that mythology. Maybe that's why. That must be what it is. But why, or was there a reason that Queen Elizabeth would have been upset at this marriage? May 19th, 2018. Ten of Cups reversed. Family turned upside down. Maybe she saw that there was a dream of a family and plans of happiness and joy, and it was coming, to her, it was falling on its head. This is what it looks like. Right. So there's some white kids in the background too. So that's interesting. Maybe that has something to do with it. There's a rainbow there. Yeah, there were a lot of things that came out. And that's part of that Saturn phase that she was in. People tend to be mean to you. Like, I'm in a little Saturn dasha right now until the end of this month. Let me tell you, we are going to celebrate. But you have to remember, things happen that are a disappointment to you, like what happened to me just earlier on. It's embarrassing things that happen, and that's the energy. So it's like, get introduced to Saturn. This is what the energy is. And then it goes, and then something else comes in. So you just have to keep your mindset above all of that chaos. It's chaos. You're curious. Illustrious orchestrations. You are just, we don't know. We don't want to make that accusation, but I have 10 of Pentacles and Devil in reverse, letting it go or begrudgingly giving. So 10 of Pentacles, you got family wealth, and you got the Devil in reverse. So she's begrudging about it. It seemed like that was definitely a begrudging face. Ugh. Okay. All right, so let's see what else here. Yeah, I mean, if you add some of the aspects to her solar return chart, you can see that there's some kind of success. It looks like between March 4th and April 4th, William comes out swinging, maybe under the radar, maybe because 12th house, you can't see him. He's doing something back there. What's he doing? He's in the 12th house. And oh, wait a minute. It's a good thing I have my other monitor up. All right. You can see. You see this? This is Will's right here. And so between March 4th and April 4th, something is happening and the 8th house is being activated. This is revenge. This is going to be the month of revenge or betrayals for them. And it looks like, yay, happy for Meghan because she's got part of fortune there. And she could be successful in the real estate. So that's good. But it also shows that William is being successful in something. That could be the monarchy in some way, but there's a connection there. What is that connection? Normally I would say that this would be good. Whenever you see like a trine, but it seems as if he has some kind of open line here to something, to her 8th house. Could be real estate, but what I don't like, and remember this is solar return chart. This is just for this year and it ends in August, but the brother has Black Moon Lilith next to him. So he's kind of like, there could be some shadiness there. There could be. Now, what we did is the reason we picked Venus was because it's the 3rd house from Harry. And that's in general. But if we wanted to get super sophisticated, we could look at his 11th house, which is the older brother. And that would be in Capricorn. So that would be Saturn. Oh, so the planet that represents dad represents brother too. And none of them want to talk. Oh my God, look at this. Look at that T-square, which means a total shut off. And what is shutting off? Mercury. Mercury is to talk, okay? And in Virgo, to talk about one's health. Also Mars right next to it. So anytime there's a talk, there's angry, just angry. And so there's Will's and dad, and there's that T-square there. Boom. Not this year, Meghan. And not that she wants to, because this is her planet here. They want her completely out. They don't want to have anything to do with her this year, and vice versa. Total cutoff. It's hurtful and it's painful. And they don't seem to have any good things that are happening for them up until August. But she does. She has a wonderful relationship with Harry here. This is him. This is Harry. And, 9th house, this is the courts. He is changing things. He's doing things to change the news, publications, the courts. And so that's giving her happiness that year. So she's focused on that. Completely ignore that T-square. Yep. And even then, maybe not. We don't know. Where can you find Charles's? It should be up. I put it back up, so you should see it. And let's see. William could take over then. I know, it's an ouch. That T-square, it hurts to have a T-square in your solar return chart. It really does. And so the best thing to do is, if you can ignore it, or try not to put too much effort and anger into it. That's really all you can do. But it looks like she has a really nice, and they're going, whenever they travel internationally this year, it makes her happy. So they've already done it already. And I wanted to mention something too. In her, not only in her progressed house, we've got Libra, we've got a bunch of people in here, okay? These are diplomats. I mean, basically, that's what the monarchy is, diplomacy. And she is about to become part of that diplomatic corps. And it's all squared. They don't want her out there, but she's a real asset. And that's what she was made to do. Look at how, if you'll remember in Wallis's chart, she did have Libra. There was diplomacy there. And it seems, she was being a diplomat, but look, the Germans brought her down. So yeah, and it's got Black Moon Lilith. I'll bet you this is Hitler himself, and maybe just kind of pulled down those ambitions. But for her, Mercury is a socialite, so socializing, and so she was meant to have a little bit of diplomacy, but definitely was very good at being a socialite. And you see Meghan's chart, and look at her with the Libra. Now, Libra can also represent music and luxurious things, but I think she has a responsibility. Saturn and Moon is Black or African American diplomat. That is her purpose. I'm convinced of it. And I think she would be very good at it. So she just has this old institution just bringing her down. Hey, Cav, nice to see you. Fear of losing. Yeah. To be friend. Yeah, exactly. That's what brought them down, in a sense. In history, really, is that there might have been some revenge tactics, and that he went over during the war to help Hitler out, because there were some visits there and a lot of secrecy. And there's a whole documentary, at least there's a couple, on all of that. So what would he have been doing? He would have been getting revenge for basically not being able to hold the throne with Wallis at his side. Toy. First female president, it's a possibility. Yeah, I think she could. I think she could. God, it's hard to believe we haven't had a female president yet. So that's interesting. Let me think about that. Mars would be her career. And also the government too. I mean, she definitely would have a lot of obstacles there. And by the way, while you're there, I might as well add a little chamber music for a minute. And let's take a look at this chart and see if she could be the first female president. It's a little loud. And I'm going to put up a banner. I have a Valentine's special, and it's for members only, and I'm going to be putting it up tomorrow. And you are not going to believe this deal for readings. So definitely check it out if you're a member. And I'm also going to put up some new classes in the next couple of weeks. So definitely check it out. I know, I need a hat. It's repugnant that I don't have a hat. Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's just say that she's a diplomat for now. And she's already doing that. She met with the president of Jamaica. Oh, and here's my other thought about this. Oh, this could be another card. All right, focus, Libra ascendant. First of all, we've got diplomat here. We've got husband is diplomat with her. They're both diplomats. And they talk third house to African American diplomats. Saturn moon is the color black, and it's also African American. So this is going to show her, this is going to show that she is going to continue talking. But who is in the mix here? Pluto is the monarchy. And the monarchy is jealous of the relationships. So they're definitely reaching out. And so I kind of wonder, could this be the makings of maybe a war, in a sense, a diplomatic war, where they are putting the light on? I mean, they already have shined the light on some of the past, the ugly past of the kingdom. They really wanted Meghan and Harry on their side, and now they're like their enemy. I mean, it just seems. So could this really blow up where they're going all around and they're deciding to be diplomats? I mean, I think that's a possibility. Let's pull a card for that. This is definitely talking to diplomats, being a diplomat, and for some reason there's a hidden enemy here, and it's squaring all of this. So could be government. Now these can also be hillbillies too. I hate to say it, but Mars is like, countrymen. So these could be like people who like Trump, God, I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all of this stuff. Ugh. All right. So what am I asking? I'm asking, could Meghan be the symbol of an entire movement, a global movement? And that represents African Americans even much more so than now? Is it just beginning? What can we expect when it comes to, or what can the palace expect when it comes to, maybe it seems like it's bubbling right now. It's simmering diplomacy, and it's working against the palace. So what's the future of that? That's what I want to know. Taurus Moon Tarot. Oh, you just pulled the Strength card. Okay. Oh, thank you, Amelia. That is so sweet. Thank you, Hope and Happiness. Nice to see you. I need my teacup. I forgot my teacup. I know. King William and President. Can you even imagine? Well done. Well done. Very well done. I bet they have bundles of crap on each person in the fam. Who? Oh, okay. What time tomorrow? Oh, Jody, you'll have to check the schedule. Oh, yeah, you mean for the show Probably earlier on, because I like the Brits to come in. I'm going to say it's going to be earlier on, like 5 or 6, even though it's still late for them. But as above, so below. Nice to see you. Sadly, many men still believe that women can't protect our country like a man can, that women can't kill people. I think a woman would protect the American people like a mama bear protecting her cubs. And also, they have this intuitive feature that men don't have often. So, okay, it's true. But keep in mind, I mean, there's a lot of men around the female when they go in to office. Exactly, pinky out. Okay. Marion, what are you saying? All right. So you pulled the strength card on that question about, is Meghan going to be this diplomatic force that could be a threat to the kingdom? How do you like that? Not bad for Mercury and Pisces. I really put a fine point on it. Okay. Oh, the High Priestess. I think that's good, isn't it? High Priestess. Okay. It is guardian of the intuition. Weird how we were just talking about that. It can be, it's a powerful female archetype. Weird that her son's name is Archie and her podcast is named Archetypes. So that's really the symbol that we're seeing here. She's going to rise above even being an icon, I think. I mean, I'm not trying to like be overly complimentary to her, but I do sense that there's just such a big destiny. It's profound wisdom. So ancestral protection. Nice. Thank you. Female ancestors. Oh my God, I'm getting chills, Taurus Moon Tarot. Wow. And I'm going to invite Taurus Moon Tarot on. I'd love to have you on for Camilla tomorrow, but if you can't make it, we'll talk and then maybe we can do something next week. Marion, you're not going to get into trouble. When will you not get into trouble? It's okay. I'll delete it. I'm going to be editing this, so it's okay. So many Trump supporters go on and on about Trump being born on an eclipse. It means he's born a king, but they forget the darkness with a dark moon. It's a good point. And weird how he was born during an eclipse, and then King Charles was, there was the whole coronation during the eclipse. So it's not good for us. Why do we have to go through this? Why do we have to see these people do all of this during these crazy times in our universe? Truth bumps, not goosebumps. That's funny. No. Okay. So, and Taurus Moon Taurus Moon Tarot said that she doesn't like to stop at one card. So I'm not going to stop at one card, or she doesn't usually. But so can you give us, Spirit, can you give us some more information about Meghan and what her future is as a destined person who's being led by her female ancestors? King of Wands. Does that mean no more fun? King of Wands. What is that? So maybe the king reversed. King of Wands reversed. 3 is best to pull. I know. Thank you, Toy. Heather says Val Evans' ancestral guardian, Diana, connected to her grandchildren, Harry specifically. Wow. Okay. Sorry, it's a knight. Oops. Okay. Knight of Wands. So Knight of Wands reversed. What could that mean? A fire sign in reverse. So this is giving us some kind of insight into what she's heading into with her ancestral energy. All right, so Knight of Wands. I know this is bad, but I mean, I just want to make sure I get the official meaning. You're changing jobs or launching your own business, but it's reversed. Oh, so maybe what that means is that she's going forward with all of her excitement and success and money from the left coast, but she's got a higher purpose than that. And it's going to change. Uranus to change. It does. Red-haired prince. Yes. Oh, there's the Knight of Wands reversed. She's going to have a change in her job. Oh, she's banging on the drum now because she is excited about another change, but there's going to be another change. And losing her passions or her drive or sex drive, fire signs, ignites passion, desire, drives you forward. I can't see her losing her drive. Maybe because she's tired of fighting. I mean, Pluto opposing your chart ruler. No, it's not a chart ruler, but let me see. What was the chart ruler for? Yeah, it's a chart ruler. Is opposing Saturn this year. And then she has all the opposition from Pluto in her regular chart, in her transit chart. I mean, you need to take a breather sometimes. You can't, but she is a Leo, so she can do it. Marion says slowed plans, losing the sword, so some power as well. Okay. Interesting. It's a burden of her own drive. So she's going along. She has this drive. She keeps going and going, and she's maybe even being pushed by her spiritual feelings or her spiritual guidance, and it's getting to be tiring. So it's Uranus. She's going to take a break from something, and she's going to go on to the next one. I really think that Uranus explains, and the Aquarius explains her a lot. Really being able to see the future and being a visionary, but at the same time, sometimes makes too many changes. And so that can set you back sometimes. And of course, cutting off a lot makes it. I mean, there's nothing more Aquarian than that word, makes it. So, all right. So I'm going to talk to Tarot Moon. And we're going to see if we can have her on tomorrow. And we're going to talk about the future of Camilla and look at some of her charts. And I'm going to take this down for just a little bit and do some editing, and then I'll have it back up. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And remember, there's going to be a nice little surprise for you tomorrow for members. So I've got a special for you for Valentine's special. And if you want to look at some more of my charts, you can go to Instagram @Forensic Astrologer. So I will see you tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in.